Yo guys, Warframe just had one of its most important events that the game can really ever have over the last 2 weeks, and no, I'm not talking about TennoCon, which attracts all of the hype. I'm actually talking behind the scenes. I'm talking the amazing Double Resources weekend that came along with it. Across its lifespan, Warframe constantly has had double XP and credit weekends like they've been going out of style, but very rarely are Double Resources even considered. So when Double Resources were announced, depending on who you were, it was absolutely cheered on. If you were a new or upcoming player, this was the boost you needed. If you were a vet, this gave you the opportunity to break the game by getting ludicrous numbers for very little effort. And given how unlikely Double Resources are to ever really drop, many players played like it was going to be the last one ever. So whether you took part in the Double Resource craze or you missed out, today's video is to document some of the most insane farms, screenshots and results both this insane community at large and myself got through this recent Double Resource weekend. So if you're watching this video and this does come around again, you're going to know exactly what to farm. But if it doesn't, this is a nice little time vault of a weekend to remember. So for those that have seen the content on this channel before, you know that we absolutely love talking about relics. I could honestly go on forever about them, so no surprise, that is what me and the community around me ended up farming. However, despite what I like to believe, there are actually tons of things in this game outside of relics. So I wanted to share some of the insane screenshots and farms done by other players and vets over the weekend, because oh good lord, there were some insane numbers going around. The most common farm we all expected and saw going around was Steel Essence farms. Given how slow farming it is normally, and that the 2x booster is like basically having a permanent cap buff, many players flock to farm the hell out of Steel Essence, whether to save for Umbral Formers in the future, or maybe turn all of that gorgeous Steel Essence into Kuva for endless rolls, or even preparing for Korra Prime so they could instantly drop hundreds of relic packs on release to farm and sell sets. No matter what, everyone knew Steel Essence was going to be a big farm, so people jumped on it. The first big thing was screenshots like this bad boy. Although still really good, the 32 Steel Essence in a single drop were no longer insanely rare. Hell, I saw screenshots like this within the first day, leading to really high hourly rates. Like this guy, that got really lucky and got 96 Steel Essence within the first 30 minutes. Comparing it to normal, it makes anything else not even worth farming. And if for some reason you still don't think that's impressive, well, some people were going for hours and hours and getting hundreds at a time, reminding many players of the dumb but fun old days of Ophelia Steel Essence farms. Almost the same speed in some cases. The only difference being you could do it wherever you wanted instead of being stuck in a single mission like the good old farm. If Steel Essence wasn't your thing, there were so many other things to try. Many players, especially in the Riven game, started demolishing arbitration after arbitration. Now, while arbitrations are typically very optimized, they normally require very specific missions and tile sets, and also requiring really good teams. That can mean, while it is fast, it's not a very common thing to run. But, with essentially, like I said, a 24/7 cap buff, every arbitration was worth giving a shot. Well, okay, still not the fetch. So people started hosting squads and they filled fast. I saw people running Arby after Arby for the entire weekend, dropping thousands and thousands of Vitus Essence. If you were lucky enough to get a good mission type or setup, it made it even better. Squads dropping 600 to 900 Essence an hour were just completely common. While the best setups and players can get 500 to 600 normally, it always requires good nodes and missions. But not now. Now every single node was perfect, and everyone is running to the bank with thousands of Essence in tow. As a result from that, people scored millions upon millions of Kuva, making re-rolling Rivens less of a, gambling thing, and instead just being a massive time sink to sit there and roll. The side effects of these farms that no one really was focusing on is just the insane amounts of just generic resources that you could get in minutes of booting up the game. Did you have a polymer bundle issue before? Oh, well, not anymore. I mean, you were farming something else and you were getting so much of everything, it doesn't matter anymore. You want millions upon millions of nanospores? Hell, over 2 days, I got 1 million nanospores from farming relics as just a side effect. Now, if you specifically wanted to farm nanospores, it was calculated by our Twitch chat that you could get over 200 million nanospores if you wanted to farm it hard just during the 2 days. Hell, even myself, I did some odd farms here and there just for the fun of it to try it out. Ever thought about how painful farming plants can be if you ever need them? How about 192 traces with 192 Rux Claws in less than 2 minutes? Or 160 Frostleaf with 100 traces? Maybe a dumb fishing session like this one just cause you can? Literally anything you put your mind to, you could farm insanely quickly. And while yes, a 2x booster does only make farming take half the time, add on to that a cat buff, it's actually 4 times faster than normal. But even then, most of the players I know make sure to run a booster bought for platinum, and if you add that to it, yes, it does actually multiply the weekend booster. So 1 cat buff, and you are then running a farm 8 times more efficient than any other day of the year, which was just insane. Honestly though, one of the coolest effects I think it had that made the weekend so fun is that literally everyone was playing. The amount of people online was massive. My friends list of old inactive players popped off and suddenly everyone was catching up with old mates, having a blast. For my farms personally, I focus on those lovely relics that I always talk about so much on this channel, and the thought was, well, farming traces is never a fun thing to do for a relic runner, but now you have twice the drops. Relic runners old and new were farming up a storm. The old flexes of people showing their 120 traces were long forgotten and no longer cared about, as people dropped screenshots of 400 plus traces in a single run during the first hour. Hell, a couple of lucky lads got a perfect 480, which is the highest possible amount with a double cat buff plus a paid booster and the weekend booster. Now if you think that's almost 5 Radiant relics in a single mission, you can see how strong this weekend was for relic farmers. Most relic runners opted to run trace relics, and by that I mean relics that did not necessarily have something worth plat in them. Instead, just relics that can get you good ducats and you don't need to upgrade to get anything good out of them. So things like Neo V10, Lith Z3, and other similar relics we use endlessly with as good ducat value. With people like Frederick who hit over 700 Bratton Prime receivers milestone over this crazy weekend. Congratulations mate, I'll race you to 1,000. For me, I ran from 1 AM Saturday my time when it started, up until 9 AM Sunday when the servers shut down. Then I had a much needed sleep and returned to keep running at 10 PM for the final 3 hours. The funniest part is that even with all of that, I was not the most active players. Some people had some insane playtime. Just a quick side note, this entire video was written and ready to edit, and then DE announced yet another 2x resource day to make up for the server issues. Not much new or exciting happened, but the results of our farms simply got bigger. I just wanted to mention that here, that I did wait an extra week to make sure that I had all the cool screenshots to show them all off. Now, there were players that almost doubled my farming results. Some absolutely insane grinders out there. The goal for most relic runners were just traces, right? So a lot of us actually kept track just out of interest. After the double resources were done, including the extra day we all had, I had run a total of 917 fissures, which accumulated me 68,000 traces, or 680 radiant relics, if that's easier to think about. But good God, were there a couple people in the community that hit, and I kid you not, over 100,000 traces or more. Absolutely insane. Doubt anything will ever come close to this again. The little extra bonus was that since a lot of us were just running relics, the ducats came easy. I ended up farming 40,000 ducats extra, just from the double resource days alone. So when our favorite Tenocon Barrow showed up, many of us had endless amounts just to buy or invest in whatever we wanted. I'm sure every community had their own type of experience, but I'm sure it was just as hyped. I can't imagine how excited and ready arbitration communities were, or hell, the Riven community I'm sure was frothing at the chance to farm as much Kuva as they could, however they ended up deciding to do it. All of these screenshots and crazier results honestly are only scratching the surface. I'm 100% certain that there will be months to come of finding screenshots of people managing to get millions of resources in incredibly fast times. I would search the Warframe Discord for screenshots of people's achievements, but good lord, I cannot be bothered going through the 50,000 messages just over those 2 days. It was an incredible weekend and everyone I knew had an absolute blast farming together and catching up with players old and new alike. I actually streamed again for the first time in a long time, and it was awesome fun seeing everyone again. I thought this would be a cool little comeback video. It has once again been a long time since I've posted any content to this channel. Recently, a few people have dropped by the Discord just to ask what's been happening, and the short and sweet of it is I'm just really busy, and I do apologize. But I have not forgotten about you guys. I'm still squeezing in time here and there when I get the chance, and this was just a good chance to make a video again. I do actually have another video planned of some insane changes to a third-party program that have come out and how there's some crazy resources in the works for Warframe players. I hope all of you had a blast on the weekend like I did. If you did unfortunately miss it, here's to hoping another resource weekend is in the future. I'm sure absolutely everyone would love that. Thank you all so much for watching and sticking with the channel, and me, Robo, out.